Hi there. This is Kay Carter, and I'm with Exceeding Life, and I've got my good colleague and friend Carole Gaskell with Full Potential Group here on a video conference where we've been discussing the universal challenges that we are finding in the space of motivation as it pertains to employees and organizations and even individuals. And so I'm just interested in you hearing the wealth of wisdom that Carole has, and so wanted to invite you into our conversation. Carole, can you tell us a little bit more and repeat what you've just said about what you're finding in your area of the globe as far as motivation?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Kay, because we're saying that, whether you have a prime minister and Brexit as we have in the UK, or whether you have a president, the challenges are actually very similar, both sides of the Atlantic. And increasingly, I'm finding individuals struggling to find their mojo because life's changing so quickly, and people losing sight of what really motivates them, and wanting to have a deeper sense of purpose in their life and making clearer decisions on their career direction and how they want to spend their life. But also with teams wanting to really fast track how they work together, and maybe they've already tried the strengths finder, or they've tried personality profiling, but they're looking for something different that's going to give them a genuine a pulling together and a genuine working together in a way that is going to help people perform better, but also know each other much better and more deeply, as well as having an impact on an organization. We've recently been working with an organization on how they improve their customer experience, and how they can do that by motivating their employees from the inside out, but also how you can help an organization improve their engagement. I think, Kay, you said that engagement has been quite a critical issue for some of your clients.
Yes, you're right, Carole. And I just resonate and uh, completely agree with everything you've said. And that's why I wanted to draw us into a broader conversation with the group that is listening, because sometimes I think it's easy for individuals to isolate themselves and think that their situation is unique and no one might understand their woe of the day, or their circumstances, or their team, or their unique challenges in their particular industry. But what I'm finding with my clients is exactly what you're finding with your clients, despite the geographical distance. And that's where I think this global partnership of us working together to, really touch lives individually, as teams, and as organizations in a truly powerful and substantive way, to get to the heart and the soul of motivation, so that we're not just relying upon our intellect and our strategy and our best practices that are born from a more surface level approach. And earlier you had asked what kind of challenges our clients are finding. And as the generation of workers become younger, what we're finding is that they want answers. Younger people have bright minds that are innovative and fresh and full of spirit, but they want to put their time towards something meaningful. And so while sometimes organizations can get short wins and get a sense of camaraderie, albeit perhaps not loyalty, because of free soda and snacks and open workspace and a sense of unity without a sense of belonging. They're different. And I think that we know from our work, especially with motivational mapping, that there is a deeper part of each one of us that gets us up in the morning. It's not our strengths, it's not our talent that gets us up in the morning. Oh, let me get up and use my talent. No, it's something deeper. And some days you've got the fire, and then you notice over time when it's dwindled, and sometimes we don't know why. And so what I love about mapping our motivation is that it helps us take that deeper look inside and understand Oh, this is the missing link. So we can turn our attention back to something substantive and meaningful for us and actually execute with greater precision and fulfillment and touch other people's lives. If we're leaders, how do we lead? Through edict? Well, you can, but you're not going to get as good of results over time. Or do we lead through a sense of inspiration, belonging, and inviting people to join us on a journey towards our mission, no matter what it may be? And we can't do that without knowing our own motivators as leaders. Isn't that right?
I think, Kaye, you're right. I think motivation is so important right now because a lot of organizations and leaders work on building people's skills.
Mm-hmm.
But you can build as many skills as you possibly can. But if someone's not motivated and they don't have that fire within, they're never going to perform. And motivation, I believe, is 60 to 70% of a leader's role. Because if you can motivate yourself and you can understand and recognize the motivators of other people, then you build that with the skills, then they create high performance. And I think people might be interested in understanding the motivational maps, because you can have a motivational map for an individual, which helps you understand what lights your fire, what motivates you, and what you can do to keep your motivation really high long term. But you can also have a motivational map for a team. So you see what a team has in common, and you can see the different motivators of the team members. But also, the great thing about motivational maps is that there are scores. So you find out what percentage motivation the team is and how you can boost that motivation, and how maybe sometimes team members might wind each other up or not get on so well because they have conflicting motivators. So that can really help, as well as then building that up from an organizational perspective to really look at how an organization can engage its people. And Kaye, I know you've got some experience in that.
Yes, I'm really finding that the excitement is with that team space, because realistically, we are not islands, and anything that really is accomplished organizationally starts with the individual, but the synergy is from that team dynamic and the innovation of the bright minds and synergized hearts really working together so that each fire is sparking a greater flame for the whole group. And so that's where the energy is for me to help other team leaders and organizational leaders understand how there's a trickle-down effect. We lead ourselves well, we lead others well. We understand what motivates us and then look into that space of the deeper person, the real person that we have the privilege of being on our team. And it's a privilege to inspire the greatness in somebody else to be revealed. And so that sounds philosophical, and it certainly isn't about looking at revenue and strategy to expand our market share. But if we could just learn to take space to look at the meaning behind what we do. And, there's a lot of attention on our why. Know your why. Well, that's not just an exercise to fill space. It's an exercise to know yourself well and to examine your life so that you're living a life that's worth living. And so I think the best leaders recognize that, and they're recognizing that motivational mapping is a tool that helps them get to that space without too much philosophy.
And so, Kaye, what's the first step if someone's interested in finding out more about motivational maps?
Well, contacting me, either an email, a phone call, click on, the Motivational Maps site. They're on my website at exceedinglife.com, and just learning more. We can have a conversation at whatever the level of your next step might be, whether it's education, ready to take action. I'm here to serve in whatever capacity is best for an individual, a team leader, or an organizational leader.
Great. So I think motivational maps, it's well worth trying a map if you've not done one already, because it's a great way to start the journey. So good luck.
Well, thank you, Carole, and good luck to you as well.